There are several reports that will help you track and monitor your progress. The first one is the Enhancement and Issue Trend Report. So we're going to start by selecting the projects that we're currently working on and click the Enhancement Issue Trend Report button. This report is going to show how many issues and enhancements are in each upgrade that's part of your project and show you the estimated man hours versus actual man hours that have been spent on the project. So this will help you estimate overall how much time it's going to take to test. With this report, by default, it shows the average risk from all facilities for all the test items, and it also has buttons that allow you to narrow the risk down. So if you click on one of these, like this, show greater than 3 risk or importance, you're still going to get the same graph at the top, but now you're only going to show items that have a greater than 3 risk on average, or whose risk has not been evaluated by any facility. So if you printed this out, this would give you the most important enhancements and fixes by module for each application. So that's the first report. The next report is the same report, only it only shows enhancements if you only want to show enhancements. To answer the question of where am I today with my testing, when you use the drop down, this will show you if you're a multi-facility setup, the master org will show all tests, all active tests for all the facilities underneath that organization. So if I click on this, by default it's showing assigned, and if I'm logged in as an analyst, whichever organization's test items I've been assigned will appear down here at the very bottom. On the left hand side will be the percentage complete for the entire group. So we have 12.1.0 and 12.1.1 for all these facilities. Currently, across all the facilities, they're at 48% complete. You can see that there's 12,800 test items when they're all combined together, and it shows how many are remaining. And if you are assigned any, you'll see how many of the ones that you are assigned, what percentage of testing. So when you log in, you can see at that level. If you drill down to a facility level, so if I click on PMC, this is going to show me that I'm at 54% complete for Portneuf out of 2,569 items. And if I was assigned any, I would have my percent for that facility. Then the further drill down is you can drill down to just the facility for a particular project. So 55% for 12.1.0, and for 12.1.1 for PMC, that's at 51%. So that's using the main screen there. If I had unchecked my show assigned, since I don't have any assigned, I didn't see any of the work items. The next way is to use the reports. So now if I scroll down to Portneuf Medical Center and select the same 2 projects and click on the time spent per day, this is going to give me a snapshot of where I'm at as far as percentage complete for the project. So as of December 31st, I'm at 54%, and you can see how many minutes per day have been spent by analysts working on the project. And then here's by each individual analyst going backwards in time. So you can see who was working on that particular project by hovering over that. The next report to look at is the estimated hours per week. So when you first set up a project, you'll have to wait overnight the first night before you'll have any data on this report. Each night this data updates all of the statistics, and what it's going to show is how many minutes per analyst is required to complete the project overall for the remaining testing. So on week 1 it will show you over the entire project. So when you're using super users in a department, and the department needs to know how many hours do I need to schedule per week for, say, a lab super user to test lab items, you can use this as a best estimate. So these estimates are based upon module for the software, because a fixed assets module may not be as in-depth as, say, a pharmacy module. And so the amount of average minutes that it takes to complete that, that'll be off if it's not calculated per module. So if you have, 1,000 pharmacy items and they take an hour apiece, that's a large number. And if you have, 10 fixed assets and it takes 10 minutes, it's a small number. But if you took those averages and started cross-pollinating them, then your estimations are going to be out of whack. So here I'm going to hide the people's names so you can't see the testers. But on this first one, you can see that they're assigned items in direct messaging, medical records transcription, direct messaging for 12.1.1, and medical records for 12.1.1. And in week 1, it was estimated that this was going to take them 16 minutes to test. So each of these added up gives you your total that they're expected, or basically a half hour worth of work for this one person. And as the weeks go by, you'll see this change over time. Now this is just math, and what it does is, say we start out with 100, I'm just making up a number here, 100 direct messaging test items for 12.1, and each of those takes 10 minutes to complete on average. So then you have 1,000 minutes of work. If you have one person, that's going to take 1,000 minutes. If you have two, it's going to take 500 minutes for each person. So this divides the number by the number of people assigned. This also accommodates for if you reassign a person an item, at the point that it's reassigned, it will be picked up in this spreadsheet for that day. If it's reassigned back to the original person, those minutes will go back to the original person until it's closed out. At the end of the week, the last day of the week, the snapshot is locked in place. So these numbers, as you can see down here for medical records, they started at 3 minutes, but it went up to 4 minutes at one point. That could have been for two reasons. It could have been that the average number of minutes that it took to test medical records went up. It could be that a resource was removed, and so this person gained more minutes. It's not likely that another test item was added because those are pretty much locked in at the very beginning. I'll scroll down this page to another example. So here we have somebody who's focused in OR and materials management. You can see that they started out with 4.5 hours of work. They have slowly been whittling away. Then all of a sudden they got a bump in minutes, and that was likely due to a resource being taken off out of the pool of work, and then they continued to work on the project. So you can see if it took an average, 270 minutes to test all of these items. The project end date says that there's 4 more weeks. So for the remaining work, this person needs to do 24 minutes per week for 4 weeks. So it shows you the running amount of time that they need to spend to finish the project off. So if you have a resource that doesn't do any work, this number per week is going to creep up on them. And if you monitor this, it may creep up to a number that, say it creeps up over 40 hours a week. Well, then you need to do add a resource to cut that in half, or have the person work overtime to reach the 40 hours per week. So you can monitor your resources this way and let your departments know how they're doing as far as getting their testing done. One last test is to see where you are by module. So this is test statistics. And it's pretty simple. It shows you a percentage from each test at the very top. And if you're using proxy testing, this is where you can see the man hours that you have saved from proxy testing for each facility. So for Bay Medical Center, they have 145 man hours logged for proxy testing. And then by each project, you've got a line item for clinical care station. So we can see the number of items that different analysts have tested and whether they've done the testing through proxy or not. And this is just color-coded stoplight. So things that are red are, low. Orange is a little bit higher percentage. Then it turns yellow, and then finally green. So this will give you a quick stoplight report as far as what items are in the red for testing.